Welcome to the FitMoney flipped lesson for investing and our third lesson in this series, which is called Manage Your Money Part 1. If you haven't watched our investing lesson Part 2, we highly recommend you start there, just to get some of the definitions of savings and investment products under your belt. It's also helpful to have your handout titled Manage Your Money Part 1 that you can find on the FitMoney website. Last but not least, you're going to want to play a game sponsored by NGPF called Build Your Stacks. So you'll want to be on a computer with a web browser that can support the game, which should be most modern browsers. What are some of the savings and investment products that you remember from the last lesson right as we start? What did you know about them? Some of the things we talked about in the last lesson were cash, which most people are familiar with. There's also savings accounts where you keep your money safe for a long period of time, but don't gain a whole lot of interest. Maybe you want to talk about bonds, which are essentially a loan that you give the government in exchange for a return. CDs have a higher rate of interest than your average savings account, but also lock your money up for a certain period of time. Commodities are things like gold or foodstuffs that you can invest in certain markets. We also talked about the relationship between risk and return and talked about how these different products have different levels of risk, but also different levels of potential return. So things like cash or savings accounts are relatively low risk. Your money's pretty much guaranteed to be there. However, you're not going to get much return in terms of interest or gains on your money. There are other things like stocks or shares in a company that are much riskier based on the company's performance, but might also offer you a greater return. Again, if you want to review these concepts before you dive in to build your stacks, which allows you to use all of these different products to create a portfolio of your own and try to make a lot of money, then you should go back to lesson 2 in our investing playlist. To play this game, you're going to go to buildyourstacks.com. You're going to stop whenever you get a new investment opportunity and write down the definition of that opportunity as well as the risk or return potential on your worksheet. Just a note, when you get to the website, you'll see 2 options, which are to play in a group or to play alone. If you've set up a group with friends or your teacher's given you a class code, feel free to click play in a group. Otherwise, you should click play alone to get started. As you play, pause the game and copy the definitions like this one of savings account onto your worksheet. It will pause every time they introduce a new financial product. All of the financial products they introduce have a separate box on your worksheet, except for commodities, where the game is going to tell you about crop commodities like corn or soybeans, and also gold commodities. So you can put the definitions for both types of commodities into the single commodities box. Go ahead to buildyourstacks.com and play for several minutes. We recommend 20 minutes as an initial start. You'll be able to play this game again if you like. When you're done, you should answer the reflection questions on your worksheet. Where did you decide to put your money, and where did you put the largest amount of money? Do you feel like your portfolio was successful? Did you change your strategy for what you invested in at all as you were playing? And if you played with a group, then what strategy did the winner use, and why did they make the most money? At the end of this activity, we want you to think about how you felt while playing the game. And if you could play a second time, what would you do differently? So you can come back to these questions, but for now, go to buildyourstacks.com and go ahead and fill out your worksheet as you play.